I hate the word vegan. I really, really hate it. Oh, almond butter and peanut butter and nuts and stuff. Hey guys, it's Alina here, and today I am doing a response video. I haven't ever done a response video, mainly because I tend to stay out of the drama. I don't really care for it. A lot of times I don't even indulge and watch what's going on. But this particular topic has come across my feed more than once this week. And it's something that I have experience with, and it's something that I'm very passionate about as far as what's going on, I guess. And I'm sure you already know by the title that we're talking about Tana Mongeau versus Freelee vegan war that's going on, which it's so crazy because they're both vegan and they're still fighting, which just like brings me to my point of freaking vegans are literally the worst enemy to veganism that there is. There could be someone like slaughtering a cow outside of my window, and a vegan is actually worse for veganism than that person is. Like, what? Like, it's crazy. But before everyone starts to go nuts and before people start to like add to the hate, relax. In this case, I am definitely on Tana's side. I was never really a huge fan of her because some of the videos I watched, I actually found her kind of annoying, but I really feel like she grew on me with this particular situation. The way that she's handling it as a 17-year-old versus however old this lady is, it just blows my mind. It's like, I just want to tell Freelee, I'm like, stop making videos. Like, stop making videos about this because it's looking really bad. Like, how old are you? Like, it's not cute. At a certain point, like, the whole like online bullying thing just gets really old and just, ugh, it's just so annoying. But yeah, so before I get all of this hate, let me just say that I can speak to this because I used to be one of you, Freelee, and all the other crazy minions that she's got and all the crazy vegans that don't listen to anything anyone says in their video and just go nuts in the comments talking about how you should be vegan. It's like legit, they can only speak one language. In high school, I was vegan for a while. I made the choice myself. Nobody pushed it onto me. Nobody pushed a pamphlet into my hands. I one day was like, you know what? I hear a lot of stuff about the food industry or whatever, and I want to look into it. And I honestly was like, can it really be that bad? Well, I watched a few videos and it was that bad and it traumatized me. And I made the choice myself. And of course, when you get that source of knowledge and you kind of get this epiphany that you're just like, oh my gosh, like how do you not know this? How do you not know this? Like, why is nobody listening to this? Like, hello? I get the excitement of that. And so the first thing I did when I went back to school is I was like, this is what I'm doing. I was shouting it from the rooftops, and I got labeled the crazy vegan girl. And I don't think there was anyone else that was vegan at the time, at least not that I know of in my high school. I live in Miami, Florida, which is a very Hispanic city. I'm Hispanic, so I can say that. It is very Hispanic heavy, and Hispanics are not necessarily too kind to the whole vegan lifestyle. Yes, there are vegan Hispanics. Don't go crazy with that. I'm just saying in general, the culture is very meat heavy. So I was shouting from the rooftops and just wanting everyone to listen, and I became the crazy vegan girl. It didn't take me long to realize that my approach was not working. All I was getting was confrontation back because I was approaching people in a confrontational way, basically saying, do you know what you're eating? Do you know you're killing animals? Do you know basically all the stuff that you are doing on the internet, Miss Freelee. Your entire approach, especially like the past few months on the internet. So that's what I was doing. The only difference is that at age 15, I actually figured it out myself and realized that maybe this approach isn't that great. Nobody had to tell me. I just kind of came to that realization myself. I realized at that moment that your diet is so much like religion, in the sense that when you are a religious person and you want everyone to be your same religion, it doesn't really work out to just push it onto people. But when people are ready to listen to it, they will come to you. They will come to you. Everyone in my school knew I was vegan. It wasn't a secret. I wasn't ashamed of it, but I wasn't also like pushing it onto people. But when I stopped talking about it, when I stopped being like obnoxious about it, that's when the people started to come to me. It was just amazing how it worked. I just led by example. I didn't have to bully people into being vegan or asking about it. And they knew I was vegan, so they would come to me and they'd be like, well, what do you eat? And it was a less confrontational situation. It was more a conversation rather than a confrontation. And I feel like it was a much more receptive conversation, and people actually heard me rather than just waiting to like have a rebuttal. I feel like vegans in general have such a ridiculous ego, like just ego. They honestly think they are better than everyone else. And you know what? You're not. You're not. Period. Just because you have found this lifestyle and you feel like it's the best thing for you doesn't mean that everyone else is shit. And I don't usually curse in my videos, but it's probably gonna happen here because I'm very, very annoyed by this. Being a vegan has such a negative connotation at this point because of people like you. Y'all are up there with the people outside of the abortion clinic yelling baby killer with the dead baby photos. And does that really stop that many people? Well, maybe it stops some people from going in and getting an abortion, but the overall population, the ones that aren't easily swayed, the ones that aren't passive, the people that actually have their own opinions and their own mind, that's not gonna sway those people. They look at you and you're like, you're crazy. I just came back from New Orleans and there was literally a church with a massive cross and they were yelling out, y'all are sinners, like all of this stuff. Was anyone listening to them? No, because they were out there drinking and they were literally trying to throw beads in the cross. So it just boggles my mind how vegans think that this is the proper way to do it. The other thing I take issue with is the fact that all these vegans, especially in the comments, are spouting off how, like, making it seem like vegan is gonna save your body. Like, talking about, you know, I get that it's amazing for the planet. I agree. I have a lot of history in this, and I'll get into it in a little bit. But it's not the end-all be-all health-wise, because if you know anything about veganism, there is such thing as a fast food vegan, and there is such thing as a fat vegan. And you're like, what? Because maybe you're not really in tune with American lifestyle, but leave it to Americans to even make veganism something that you can get fat on. Why? Because there's so many processed foods that are vegan and follow your little standards, but they're not good for you. They're full of chemicals and stuff. So how could that be better than the alternative? You know, I'm not saying one is better than the other, but to say that just flat out being vegan, like, no, it goes beyond that. I hate the word vegan. I really, really hate it. It's terrible. So if you're wondering what happened in high school, so I was vegan for a while and then I went away for school. I actually went to University of Connecticut because at the time I wanted to be a vet. So I wanted to go to a school that had a really, really amazing animal science program. I thought animal science, this is my naive South Florida girl, I thought animal science meant like you wanting to be a vet, but no, it actually meant like preparing animals for the meat and dairy industry. Boy, was I surprised in Intro to Animal Science. But yeah, so I switched my major immediately after my first semester. But the biggest issue with UConn at the time was the fact that it was not a very vegan-friendly campus. To live on campus, you were required to get a meal plan, and the meal plan itself was $2,000 a semester. So at $4,000 a year and it not being vegan-friendly, I ended up having to end being vegan by the end of my first semester because I was not getting any good food. It was literally, I was eating like lettuce and french fries because that's literally all that had the little vegan logo on it, and dry lettuce at that, because all the salad dressings of course had animal products. So I know you guys on your high horse are gonna say, well, why didn't you just get your own groceries, or why didn't you have groceries delivered? Well, I tried that. So I didn't have a car because it was very expensive and it was impossible to get a parking on campus, and I'd have to literally bring my car from Miami. So no car. The closest grocery store was 20 minutes away by car, and so it turned out to be about an hour by bus. I didn't have a fridge because the roommate that brought the fridge in my 3-person dorm room ended up hating my other roommate and left. And we were partway through the semester and I wasn't about to buy a fridge, like a little mini fridge, just to have some groceries. And on top of all that, I was already paying $4,000 a year. And I'm sorry, like, get off your high horse. Not everyone can afford to pay $4,000 a year, plus buying additional groceries, plus schlepping the groceries and spending an hour each way to go to the grocery store. Sorry, wasn't gonna happen. And I will say that's the last time I was vegan. I have eaten a plant-based diet for years after that. I'm not currently 100% plant-based, but I have been after that point as like a more mature adult. I say plant-based because I hate the word vegan, and I think that plant-based is a much more positive word, and it also says a lot more about what you should be eating. You should be eating a more plant-based diet. Just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy. For example, everything that comes in a box is in the frozen section that's vegan. So the reason why I stopped eating plant-based 100% about like 2 years ago was because I literally looked sickly. I had people literally ask me if I was ill, and I was eating so much. Granted, at the time, and this is why I can speak to this, I was a plant-based, uber healthy eating coach. So I was teaching people how to cook healthy foods. So I know how to cook healthy foods. You don't go in the comments and say, well, you just haven't had good vegan food, like, because I can tell you, I know how to make really good vegan food. I can make a bomb freaking cream pie, no dairy, no oil, and only sweetened with fruit. So back up off me. So I lost so much weight, and I realize now why it was. At the time, I was a healthy eating cooking coach, and so I was on my feet like 14 hours a day. I was literally constantly running around, making the recipes, doing all that stuff. I was very, very active. And even though I ate a lot, it just wasn't calorie dense enough. And that is a thing that does matter. So what I've realized now as time is passing, and you know, I still eat a lot of plant-based meals, especially at home. Like, I really focus a lot on making plant-based foods just because I find it to be really easy for me, because that's kind of where I've spent most of my time cooking in my lifetime. The thing I realized is that I don't like nuts and I don't like nut butters. And those are two things that I feel like are big calorie dense staples of a vegan diet. Like, I really do not like them. I know some people are just like, oh, almond butter and peanut butter and nuts and stuff. Like, I'm just not that person. I was eating 2 avocados a day and I just could not keep the weight on despite doing that among all the other stuff I was eating. I am working on finding a way to get enough calories in a plant-based diet, because I know how important it is for my health, and I know how detrimental the dairy and meat can be to your health. But the big point of that is that I'm talking about my health. I'm not pushing it on to anyone else. I feel like the other reason why I really have a thing against vegans is because there is no such thing to them as vegan enough. Because you will always come across a vegan that says something about how you live or what you're eating or whatever. Like, I remember when I was in high school, and mind you, the only vegans I knew were via the internet, because, you know, I didn't know anyone in real life, so it was like, you know, vegan live journal communities. So I was so excited in this transition and just, you know, trying to learn everything I could and trying to incorporate all this stuff. And there was always those people that were like, well, do you eat this? Because, you know, this was made in a factory that also processes honey, so it's, you know, got traces of honey, so you're not vegan. And it's like, do you really think that that mindset and that really militant, crazy, like super like uber cult religious attitude is really gonna make people want to be like, you know what, I want to be vegan. It looks amazing, looks super fun, it looks like I can do it. No, because guess what, when people are students, when people are crazy, like busy, when they have crazy jobs, when they have like 6 kids or whatever, are they really gonna reach for the lifestyle that basically is pretty much unattainable? Because even if you're vegan, you're not really that vegan. Like, you're not vegan enough. Like, really? Like, it's just like, it's just crap. It's just total crap. When I was a healthy like cooking coach, the lifestyle plan that I was hired to educate on was plant-based, no dairy, no meat, no oil. Because even though oils are vegan, they're not really that great for you. But no vegans are talking about that. Very low sodium. and no sweeteners, just things are sweetened with fruit. When I had these people in my class, I think the reason why I was so successful with a lot of these people, and a lot of these people actually ended up becoming 100% plant-based, I think the reason why I really like resonated with them was because I came from a place of understanding and compassion. And I told those people, I said, look, I am Hispanic. I grew up with lots of meat on my plate. I understand your struggle and I understand the big change that you're trying to make in your life. And all I really encouraged for them to do was to make an honest effort every day. Because by coming like that, instead of saying, you know what, you need to do it now, you need to like get rid of everything, they were much more receptive. And every week that they would come by for a class, I would show them 3 more recipes and they would love how it tasted. And they would go back and make it themselves, and they would start one day of being 100% plant-based, and then it would be 2 days a week, and then 3 days a week. Like, I would much rather encourage and inspire people to do that, even if it only is 1 or 2 days a week for the rest of their life, rather than have someone be vegan for a week and realize that it's super hard and super stressful and they didn't plan correctly and they're not eating enough, so they're hungry and they're frustrated, like, and then give up on it. But that's my thing. I feel like vegans refuse to acknowledge any effort made by anyone. They look down on vegetarians, and it's like, these people have made a commitment to not eat animals, therefore not killing animals. And I know the dairy industry is really, really bad. I would say it's probably just as bad, if not worse, in the meat industry. Y'all can't even give them support for that. I guarantee that if you guys approached people that were making these like little changes here and there with positive enforcement and, you know, compassion and understanding and just being genuinely excited for their transition, I guarantee you guys would have a lot more people in your vegan corner than you do right now. And when I say like supporting these people, and I don't mean saying that it's okay that they, you know, drink dairy, that the dairy industry is fine. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about saying, wow, it's so great that you've made this change to be vegetarian. You know, I'm vegan or whatever, I'm plant-based. And, you know, if you ever want to like learn more about that, like I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. I've got so many amazing recipes, or even just like inviting them over to eat and letting them try these vegan recipes. I guarantee you will win with that. You know how they say, you get more flies with honey than vinegar. I think the frustrating thing to do is like how vegans talk a lot about compassion, and they talk a lot about how could you not be compassionate for animals and all that stuff. From this experience of watching this whole drama unfold and seeing all the comments, I'm realizing that you vegans are not really all that compassionate, at least not when it comes to other human beings. Because yeah, you're advocating for the animals, but you're treating your fellow human beings like garbage by basically bashing them and ridiculing them for their life choices. It's just not acceptable. And I don't really think that that's a way to get things done. And one thing that they love to say is like, oh, they only want the best for everyone. They only want the best for you and your health and all that stuff. It's like, I call crazy religious cult again, because isn't that what the crazy like Bible pushers like on the street corners are doing? They're like, I am like trying to save you, like Jesus wants to save you and all this stuff. And mind you, I'm Christian, so don't even start going, oh, you're like an atheist crazy girl. No, I'm Christian. I just don't belong to a church because of all the craziness and the ridiculous hypocrisy that happens there. Like, it's the same thing. These people that are the radical, like, religious people, they only want the best for you. They want you to be saved just like they're saved. But we all kind of laugh and we brush them off and stuff. We call them crazy. Why? Because we're not ready for the information. Also, I just want to touch on something that I just thought was kind of ridiculous. Tana talks about how Freelee's boyfriend like said she looked sickly, like anemic or whatever. And I just thought it was kind of ironic that they didn't edit that out, because it's like, that's like the #1 thing that they tell you when you're vegan. People are like, oh my God, you're going to be anemic. So by calling her out and saying that she looks anemic, isn't that really like putting a negative damper on the fact that you guys want everyone to be vegan? It's like, wait, she's vegan and a vegan is saying that she looks anemic. Like, I just, that didn't make any sense to me. I mean, out of all the things and all the illnesses that you could have thrown at her, like the one that people most think that veganism brings upon, It's not really the one to like use in an argument. I don't know. And yeah, for all you guys that are watching, like whatever efforts you're making in this world to make it a better place, I appreciate it. Other people may not appreciate it, but I personally appreciate whatever effort you're making to improve this world. I appreciate Tana, and I'm now a fan of her because of the video that she made, because she is a vegan and she is using her platform to inspire rather than target and bully. I feel like people like her are really going to change what a vegan is in our eyes. And as the older generations move on, I feel like this younger generation hopefully will be more into inspiring rather than bullying to make change. Anywho, that's pretty much all I have to say. So I know what you guys are probably already frantically doing, keyboard warriors. You're probably already destroying each other in the comments, but here's hoping that there is some positive spin with some people, and hopefully there's some positivity down there, encouraging others to make positive changes for themselves and not for others, and not because others bullied them. Yeah. Go Tana. See ya.